Wanna play?
Here's Johnny!
I need a bigger boat.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wanna Play. My name is James McKenna, and today we're going to be ranking yet another franchise. So my last franchise was Final Destination, and this time around we are doing Saw. So there are 8 Saw movies. There's Saw 1 through 7, and then there's the newest one, Jigsaw. And honestly, I'd say this is kind of a consistent franchise. Like, there isn't any movies in here that I really can't stand. Like, there's some franchises that are like that, in which there isn't really a terrible movie in the series. This is a lucky franchise like that, and although it does get really confusing and really convoluted and really crazy, it is still a pretty entertaining franchise, especially the movies with John Kramer in them are just... Like, John Kramer is such an awesome character, and Saw is a great franchise. I'm still not sure as to the reason why I haven't seen any of these until now, but now I have, so I can rank them all for you. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So coming in last place is going to be the newest entry into the series, that is Jigsaw. So Jigsaw, I feel like it is the obvious choice for the weakest in the franchise, but I wouldn't say that it's the worst movie that I've ever seen. It's just probably the weakest Saw movie. First off, it's the 8th in the franchise, and it came out the same amount of time after the 7th one that the 7th one did after the original. I don't know, you can interpret that however you want, but Jigsaw is just, it's weird because none of the characters that we've known to love throughout the franchise return because they all died in the previous entries. The only one who's here is John Kramer, but it's all like flashbacks, and Tobin Bell is noticeably older, and this movie's twist is that it takes place before the first one, and it's just really weird and convoluted, and it's just annoying that, oh my god, there's another guy that's part of this whole thing. And also, where the hell was that dude Lawrence, who was revealed in part 7 to be part of Jigsaw's plan all along? It's really strange. One of the big criticisms of this as well is that the dude at the end doesn't say game over, he just says I speak for the dead. I didn't really have a problem with that because it was pretty cool still, but altogether Jigsaw, it's got to be the weakest entry into the franchise. It's not a bad movie, it's a weak entry into the Saw franchise, and it comes in last place. Next up is Saw 4. Now, Saw 4, I feel like it's not where the franchise really became, like, worse. I mean, there is a noticeable dip in quality from Saw 3 and Saw 4, but most people say that Saw 4 is where the franchise started to just get, like, really bad and repetitive. I don't see it that way. I just think that Saw 4 is kind of like, it's the one that's just kind of there. Like, it doesn't really add much to the story. It adds the character of Jill, who goes along to the next bunch of movies, and it does have some cool kills. One of the best being the dude who freaking he's standing on that rope on the melting ice, and then the guy comes in and this freaking ice comes down and smashes his head in. That's one of the most memorable and best kills in the entire franchise by far. But other than that, it's pretty forgettable. I do like the twist that it was going on at the exact same time as Saw 3, and they kind of like mesh together in the end. But overall, it's just a forgettable movie, and it's the one, as I said, that's just the most there for me in the franchise. It didn't really do that much to progress anything, and it comes in at number 7. And here's where we start to get into like the A tier of Saw movies. because number 6 is gonna be Saw 6. Saw 6 is, it's the most, I feel like it might be the most Saw of them, and it's just got a lot of good stuff going for it. First off, you got freaking Roderick in here for some reason. That's fun. Also, I do like the twist in the end where it's like the whole reason why Amanda killed Lynn in Saw 3 is because she didn't want John to know that she was the reason that John and Jill's baby died. It's really hard to explain, but it is a good twist. And also, the scene where Hoffman, the scene where they're dissecting the John Kramer voice, and it turns out to be Hoffman, and Hoffman is in the room, and he takes out his like pen, I think, and just kills everybody mercilessly, and then just burns them. It's such a badass scene. It might be my favorite scene in the entire franchise. If it wasn't for that scene, that one scene, this movie might have been a little bit lower on the list, but Hoffman is at his best here. He's so freaking cool in this movie. And Saw 6 is just a good movie altogether. It's a great Saw movie. It's got some awesome traps. And it's got to come in at number 6 for me. Next up is Saw 5. Saw 5 is another one that's just really awesome, and it's got some great moments in the franchise. First off, I like the whole aspect of these characters all competing against each other in this one like big trap thing where there's like multiple traps in one. And I love the twist ending where it's like, holy crap, these guys were supposed to work together all along and they were supposed to all survive. I feel like it was kind of an obvious twist because there were bits where I was thinking, well, why doesn't these characters just do this? It's an obvious way for them to survive. But it is a really cool twist. I wasn't the biggest fan of all the like cop drama going on and all of that. Now it did get a little bit confusing with all of the storylines going on because there was a lot of storylines in here, but there was just so much good in this movie. The freaking hand trap where the thing is like sawing through their entire arm was super painful to watch. But Saw 5 is a very solid movie. It's got some awesome moments. It's got some awesome kills. Saw 5 is another solid entry into the Saw franchise, and it's got to come in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, and this is where my list differs from most people, but I hope that I can explain my reasoning. Number 4 is going to be Saw Part 7, the final chapter in 3D. This movie is a very good Saw movie. I feel like after the last couple were kind of like the same, this one really kind of revitalized it for me. It had some of the best traps and kills. Like, holy crap, the one at the very beginning, the one in public where the girl's like tied up and the two guys are like arguing over like who's gonna die and they just choose her. That was a crazy trap. And the freaking, what was it? The girl who was on the little platform watching her husband trying to save her and then he fails and then the freaking like gas chamber freaking surrounds her out of nowhere and just burns her was an insane kill. Like, holy crap. I really did love the twist ending that Lawrence was in on it the whole time. I just wish that they kind of added more to that in Jigsaw, which is one of the reasons why I don't really like it, is because they never really went anywhere with it. It just kind of ended with him standing there taking his mask off and being like, I was there too. But Saw 7 is insane. It's one of the most insane entries into the franchise, and I think it makes for a solid entry into the series. So Saw 7, the final chapter in 3D, comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, and now we're at like god tier Saw movies. I mean, holy crap. These top 3 were actually really tough for me to decide between the first, the second, and the third Saw. Like, they're all very good. But number 3, I've gone for Saw 3. Only because it just has a little bit more confusing elements in it, and it's just, I've got the most problems with it out of the first 3. First off though, before we talk about that, the scenes between John and Amanda and Lynn are some of the best and most interesting scenes in the entire franchise. Like, those characters are at their absolute peak in the series, and there's just some stuff that's really difficult to watch. Like the scene where Lynn is like sawing into John Kramer's head is like, ouch, that really hurt to watch. Like, why? Come on, Saw 3, don't do that to us. It was insane. But just the stuff that brings it back a little bit is Jeff. Like, I get how he would be angered by like his whole, like his son's death, and that like there was no conviction for it, but he was just a little bit too slow, a little bit too angry for me. And the ending was a little bit confusing. Like, they killed off John and Amanda like in the third entry in an 8-movie series. That was a little bit confusing to me. I didn't really know what was going on there and how they would go along with the franchise after this. But it was still a very good movie just because of John, Amanda, and Lynn. Their scenes together were awesome. And also, some of the traps in here were very cool and very different, and it's just a very solid sequel altogether, with some aspects that aren't too good and some aspects that are awesome, like best in the franchise material. So coming in at number 3 is going to be Saw 3. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Saw 2. Now, first off, there's a Last House on the Left reference in there, which is fun because the Last House on the Left is freaking insane, just like these Saw movies. I love the whole element, like the new thing that it's not just different characters and different traps, it's that they're all in this thing together, and there's like a bunch of different traps that they have to go through. Some of them didn't make too much sense, like the gun through the wall thing was like, how would you expect somebody to be in the perfect position to be shot in the head? That didn't really make any sense. And although the twist ending also didn't really make too much sense from like a storyline standpoint, it was still just as mind-blowing, if not even more mind-blowing than the first, because it was the first time where we really revealed that there is another person in on these murders, and they expanded it so well in Saw 3. And Saw 2 is just awesome. I think this might have the best traps in the series. One of the best traps in the entire Saw franchise is the needle pit. It's one of the most famous, maybe the most famous trap in the entire franchise, and for good reason too. It's just, Saw 2 is so good. It's a perfect sequel to the original movie, and it's gotta come in this high at number 2 on my list. But coming in at number 1 is going to be the original Saw. Now, I kind of didn't really want the original Saw to be number 1. I don't know why, I just didn't really feel like putting it up this high. But looking back on it, it was just one of the best and most different horror movies ever made. Like, it's not hard to see why that this movie made this entire franchise, because it's such a good premise and it's so different from what was going on at the time. Like, it came out in 2004. Before this, from like 2001 to 2003, there was kind of like a stretch of nothing there. Like, you just had a lot of crappy sequels. You had like Seed of Chucky in this time. You got Halloween Resurrection in this time. Hellraiser 6 in this time. It was a rough time. And then Saw comes along and just changes everything. It's such a good movie with some legitimately scary and suspenseful scenes. The scene where the girl goes up to her mom and is just like, "There's a man in my room," is so creepy, and it's also really messed up. And I love the traps and how it's just edited and how it's so different from everything else. Like, there are moments where you can tell like it does have a low budget and it does show off at times, but just John Kramer being introduced at the very end is such an awesome twist. You got two of the best characters and the guys who are in that disgusting room throughout the movie, and it's one of the best horror movies of all time, one of the most unique horror movies of all time, and it's not hard to see why it spawned this amazing franchise. So number 1 has to be the original Saw. Thanks for watching my ranking on the entire Saw franchise. Let me know what series you want to see me do next. I've been thinking maybe Alien could be next, but I'll leave it up to you. You can decide what series you want to see me rank next, unless it's like Children of the Corn and there's like 80 of those things. No thank you. But yeah, let me know what franchise do you want to see me rank next? Now, there's probably not going to be another one of these for quite a little bit, because there's a video coming out soon where and this is official, within the coming weeks, I'm going to put out a video of me ranking every single horror movie that I have ever seen. The last time I did one of those videos, I said, next time I get my next 100 horror movies I do, next time I see 100 more of these things, I'm going to do another ranking, and I'm almost there. I have 2 more freaking movies to watch, and then I'm at 230 goddamn something else. But yeah, that's going to be pretty annoying, but it's going to be really fun for you to watch, so stay tuned for that. As for my next video, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but stay tuned for that anyways. So let me know what your ranking of Saw is in the comments down below. You can follow me on Instagram at James from Wanna Play. Our Discord link is in the description, so you can go check that out. So thank you for watching, goodbye, and good night. Bang!